Like, well, number one, like the hockey Reddit shut down and banned anyone who said anything other than freak accident. And my initial take, because I only watched the clip twice before I sent it to like Kyle, and my initial take was, which I now go back on, was that it was just an accident, that he that it was an accident.
He was falling forward and he hit him with like the heel, right?
Like that, I only watched the clip through because it was all gory and horrid, and I didn't want to watch it again. And I was like, no one in hockey tries to kick like that, so it must have been a goofy fall. Then yesterday morning, I saw somebody clip it down to super slow-mo that got rid of all the blood and gore parts. And so I watched it probably 100 times with like the initial go through of like the way I watch clips like that in hockey, because I'm familiar with the sport, is I'll be like, okay, the next few playthroughs, I'm going to look at his stick. And I'm going to see, does his stick get caught on anything that redirects his momentum? No, it does not. All right, I'm going to look at his outer edge on his right foot. And I'm going to look at his inner edge on his right foot. What is the result of this? Does he catch an edge? Does he impact someone in a way that changes his momentum? No, he doesn't. Like, my conclusion from it is that I think it's ridiculous to say the guy went in there with homicidal intent. He didn't mean to kill him, but he absolutely meant to use his leg in that way to impede him. Like, no one in the history of hockey has fallen in that way, especially with the physics don't make sense. That if you were to catch an edge on your right inner edge, you wouldn't fall that way. He intentionally lifted his leg because the play it was happening. The black guy who did the kicking is a defenseman. And the guy was trying to gain, the offender who died was trying to gain entry to the zone. The defenseman badly played it, missed his assignment, and he tried to very recklessly use his leg to prevent the guy who's now dead from gaining access to the zone. And he lifted his leg very intentionally for the kick and like hit him in his upper body. That's something I saw people posting examples of Clint Malarchuk, of Zednik, of the other times people have been caught. I think Taylor Hall a few years ago. And every other example is like the person's pushed down into a fray. The legs are flying. Like there's an impact that causes it. This was a guy who intentionally tried to kick him, to use his leg to prevent him gaining access to the zone. He didn't do it to try and kill him, but the result of it is the guy died because of a reckless play. Day one hockey, keep your blades on the ground, keep your stick on the ground. Like no professional player accidentally falls leg into upper body in that way. And so 100%, like he is culpable in that guy's death because of his recklessness. But the idea that it's murder and like premeditated trying to kill him is incorrect.
Originally?
I don't know where the two guys are from. The guy who died is from Canada, I believe. I don't know where the other.
It was usually a French league, right?
An English league, the English professional league. So most of those guys are still from the U.S. or Canada. But yeah, that was like my takeaway after I watched it 100 times. Is like the kick was intentional, the outcome of it was not. But as a professional hockey player, you have a response. The same way that like, if someone killed someone in the UFC ring because they drove an elbow down onto the back of someone's head and that guy ended up dying, he knowingly did a move that's reckless. He didn't intend the guy to die, but he did. And so
I wonder how much he tried. I have a quick story. I've told it before, so I'll zoom through. I'm playing hockey. We're up against the boards, and if you've never done this, the puck gets kind of trapped, and everyone uses their stick and their skates to try to like wrestle the puck in their own control and then give it to their teammate. That's the move. Okay, So while me and another guy are doing this, maybe he hits my skate with his stick or something, which is a normal legal thing to do, and it causes me to fall. But this is the sport. My reaction to that was to kick at his skate and make him fall. He didn't fall. I got a penalty. The thing is, in hockey culture, that is a terrible no-no. 100%. You do not kick with the bottom of your skates. That is it. Like, I'm embarrassed, and that was 20 years ago or something. Like as I should be.
You are forgiven.
They have your picture outside the rink.
And but like afterwards, I was like, oh my God, I really did do that. Like everyone saw it. Even my own team is like, bro, what were you thinking? Right. And that's my team. The other team, they weren't as forgiving. And, so like this guy had just got beat on the play and his move was to sort of fling his leg in the other guy's way. I'm like, I wonder if he Did he make a split decision, a bad one like I did? Maybe. Or maybe
it could be. I saw people being like, "Oh, he has a hit. Like he's the highest penalty minute player in the league. He has a history of like intending to injure other players, which is possible. There are players like that, especially in non-NHL leagues, who are trying to be dirtier than they need to be. But that didn't even factor into it. Like I watched that clip 100 times. With my initial go through being my previous day's opinion, which is what I misinformed our patrons about, where I was like, no, there's no way it was intentional. Hockey players don't try to kick like that. They don't do that. Watching it, he did. Like it is very clear. Legs don't move that way to try and recover from a caught edge. Like he kicked him on purpose.
But what do we do next year when he takes out another guy?
I
would imagine that he is not going to be playing anymore.
We might have to suspend him until he learns his lesson.
How many minutes do you get for a second?
He should be banned from all professional hockey leagues. You cannot behave that way in the end. Hockey's a dangerous fucking sport. You can't have someone throwing bladed legs around. That's absurd. They charged Todd Bertuzzi with assault correctly for what he did to Steve Moore, and this is much more egregious than that. The guy had his throat slit.
Those people know how to let the guys play.
Wait, Bertuzzi? Are you sure he didn't hit Brashear?
Bertuzzi had a number of dangerous things, but I'm pretty sure that the real dangerous one was when he ruined Steve Moore's career.
Oh, actually, I take it back. Now I remember it like you. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember there's one where he grabbed Brashear's necklace or something, or maybe it was vice versa, and they didn't want to fight.
They should be wearing a necklace anyway. That's reckless.
True. It is not a thing a hockey player should be wearing. And I think I think if someone rips your necklace off during a game, you should be like, well, that's kind of on me.
What if you get like horse collared kind of, and it like spins and like chainsaws into your fucking neck or something? You know what I mean? If it's chain, like if I'm hanging on to it as you keep moving and it like sort of slips and chainsaws and like cuts your fucking throat.
I hear you. I imagine it being more breakaway than that, but
these guys are
I would hope so. These guys with their tungsten necklaces.
But with hockey, have you guys already talked about that dude who got killed on the ice the other day?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly.
Taylor misinformed our audience.
That was the goriest sports injury or death of all time. It encompasses both. There is no more gory instance I've ever even heard of for a professional sport. He died, and you see him coming off, and you see his face is so white. You see the man's face. You know, they zoom fucking in because they don't know. They don't know. I'm sure they wouldn't have zoomed in if they'd known.
Yeah, they shouldn't have zoomed in on that. Yeah, that was.
Is it available to find online? I haven't seen
it was everywhere.
Not the impact, but
it was
it's
rough.
Available. What seems to happen is the guy seemed like he threw his leg behind him in an effort to prevent I think he was the puck carrier from going towards the goal like he wanted him to.
Yeah, but he didn't clearly. What he was saying, I misinformed the patrons, which I did. Because the first day they only had the version of the clip where you could see like all the blood and gore, so I only watched it through like twice. And so during the hangout, I was like, I'm sure it's just like a total accidental thing. Wouldn't mean to kick. Like you would never mean to kick somebody in hockey. What are you, crazy? And then they clipped it down to where the gore was out of it. And the next day, I ended up watching it like 100 times, trying to like ascertain what exactly had happened. And after like just a few watch throughs of that, because I was able to actually pay more attention when I wasn't dreading the gore and the death, I was like, oh no, this guy 100% intended to kick. Like he intended to kick him. Like you do not raise your leg that way in a hit ever. There's a reason that there haven't been anybody posting clips of similar incidences. Like they'll post clips of like, hey, here's other times that the skate goes high up. And it's like, yeah, that guy got hit in the back into the bench. That's why his feet came up. Yeah, this guy got hit in the back and his feet came up the way physics works.
Kick isn't the word I'd use though, right? Like he was hoping to put his shin in that guy's path. Like kick to me is something you do with your toe. But
if he wanted to put his foot in that guy's path, it would be a normal tripping and he would have reached out backwards towards the guy's shins. This guy raised his leg deliberately and kicked him in his upper body. So like it's a very clear that he intended to kick. He didn't mean to. I don't believe he meant to kill him. but he did mean to kick him.
He put his leg in front of the guy like a turnstile would in an effort to stop him there. That's what I thought I saw, but you saw it differently.
Yeah,
so
it hit so much higher than that on his body. Like tripping is a very common, as you know, like play in hockey as a defenseman, because what the play was is that the guy who killed him was the defenseman, and he had missed his coverage, and he was attempting to keep that guy from entering the zone. And usually you would take a bad penalty, like slash and break his stick, or kick back, which he shouldn't have even taken a fucking penalty there. Like there was plenty of time to recover that play, and he instead used, like, he lifted his left leg up to the guy's upper body and kicked him. And that is beyond the pale. Like that doesn't have, like, I've seen lots of clips in the past week or few days of people showing, like, hey, here's what some of the other incidences, like Clint Malarchuk or Zednik or these other people who have been cut by skates, and they're all wildly different. Like,
do you think when he comes back, like, he'll be like, yeah, don't fuck with me. You saw what happened to so and so. You'll be next. Like,
dude,
he'll be like that kind of enforcer. Like, I'd be afraid of that guy, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, he's never allowed back into any competitive league at all. Hopefully, he's banned for life.
Oh,
yeah, you cannot kick people.
I'd want him for my
bladed
team.
leg.
Like, if I'm that kind of guy, like if I got one of those beer league hockey teams or whatever that we're trying to keep going.
Beer league, you want that
Get me that guy. Get me that guy. Get me Jose the Killer Montoya. Like, get me him.
Yeah, no, I hope that guy can never step foot on the ice and play in a professional game again.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm over here wondering if he's going to get charged with manslaughter.
He might. Like, I don't know how it'll end up panning out, but like,
was it in England?
It was in the English league, so I don't know what their laws are, but like, I don't think I would be shocked if he intended to kill that guy. I think that's far fetched, but he intended to kick him, and the result of the kick was he died.
Right, which is why it's not murder, but still manslaughter. I mean, like, you hurt the guy.
Well, I don't know what their laws are.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it there, but like it's a fucked up clip. Like you watch and you're like, okay, like I went through without the gore one, and I was like, I must have watched it, like, not exaggerating, 100 times. I'd be like, all right, let me see if he catches an edge. Let me see if his stick pulls him into it. Let me see if he falls into this. And it's like, there's a reason there's no other clips or examples being posted of, like, see, here's the time that Colton Parayko lifted his left leg into the torso of an opponent, and it's like, no, that does not happen. Like, you don't do that.
It reminds me of that famous clip where the guy, same thing, where he got his neck slit and he's like just grabbing his fucking neck.
Yeah,
because apparently that guy survived.
Clint Malarchuk survived. Yeah, he was a goalie, and it was someone got knocked over and went into him skates first. So very different scenario there. And then a lot of the other ones are,
his medic was special. I feel like I want to talk about that part, right? I think maybe someone knows this better than me, but the medic, the team doctor, these NHL teams have doctors on the bench, was a Vietnam vet who had some experience with similar injuries. So he went in there and, like, pinched off the jugular or carotid, I don't know.
Yeah, and look that up. The same thing. They're just like, one's the blood vessel and one's the
vein, one's the artery.
Thank you. Yeah.
You want to keep them both intact. But yeah, last night on TNT,
everything.
I think it was last night on TNT that this came up briefly, like during the hockey game, and even Gretzky, like, obviously they're not going to go in on it totally, but Gretzky, like, very deliberate, was like, yeah, the so-called accident. Like, if you watch that and you've seen all the ways that people get clipped with skates, generally people get clipped with the toe or the heel of the skate because they're falling forward or falling back. This guy got caught with, like, the middle of the skate blade. Like, it's tragic. Like, the guy literally died.
When you said that people would not wear the neck guard, I imagined like a big Hans device, like this big fucking Darth Vader shit. It's literally a kerchief made of Kevlar.
Yeah.
Like, throw that bitch on, boys.
In regards
It'll keep your neck warm. It's a neck warmer.
It's like the old body armor that they used to put, like, that you could button it on to both sides of, like, a Kevlar vest. It was just like a little Kevlar protector that they give to people.
Zach, can you show a picture of it? It to me looks like I don't know, like a sandbag tube that you wear around your neck like a collar. Does that sound right, Taylor?
Yeah. It's similar.
I saw kids.
They're itchy and they are uncomfortable. Oh. And I remember that, like, my dad would try and make me one when I was playing goalie. And like, anytime that he wasn't at the game, I wouldn't wear it because I hated it. And there was also, like, a perceived thing of, like, you're kind of lame like for wearing it.
I had
I was a
two
kid.
issues. One was it made me hot. I'm a player who gets hot a lot. I didn't wear a shirt under my shoulder pads or anything. It was just shoulder pads and jersey. And
that smelled great.
Yeah.
you'd lose that bet.
Rancid.
I did store it in the garage, like to dry
Pressure
out
wash it off
but,
at the
but
beginning
it
of the
smelled bad.
season.
But yeah. So I
Sage
got
around
really
it.
hot, and that neck thing, that turtleneck, essentially would
Christ.
make me warmer. So I didn't
Mhm.
like it. The other issue, maybe even as big a deal, is it was uncool. And even as like it's a grown up in beer league hockey, it's like everyone's gonna think I'm a pussy if I wear this. There's no one else wearing.
I mean, that kid looks like a pussy if we're being honest, right? I'd bully the shit out of that kid.
He might get bullied,
That
but I
kid's
guess it's
name
probably
is-
required now.
Like that kid's name's like
Oh.
Kirsten or something. That's like half a girl's name.
Random
he's-
attack on child successful.
His
Yeah,
name's
but
Tracy.
you can
His
tell
name's
by
Candace.
his you can tell from his hair that he's a gamer. He's good.
I was gonna say that,
Yeah.
Taylor. I spotted the hockey hair also.
Yeah, hockey hair. You can tell he's got flow. He's probably got dangles. He's dominating all the other 12-year-olds, however old that kid is. Yeah, but I
Right.
remember like these ones.
It's probably literally hero hockey.
Zach,
kid or
bring
something.
up the plexiglass ones that goalies would wear hanging off their mask back in the day. Like my dad like kind of held my feet to the fire on it and was like, you either have to wear this, which like I felt was like total goober mode because like people would make comments like on my own team and be like, oh, you're wearing a neck guard. And I should have at the time been like, I'm the fucking goalie, bro. Like that kind of shit. No, that's a face
not
mask.
it. No,
But
it's large, clear,
it's a large,
and
yeah,
and it hangs
plexiglass
almost
thing
in
that is
dangles.
tied to the bottom of your mask and it just hangs off your chest here. They used to wear them. Yeah, exactly
close.
that.
Yeah.
That thing there. Usually a little clearer than that. That's a low quality helmet. But like that, I thought was like, it was more accepted as like cooler. And so my dad let me get away with that one. And then
like I've
a
seen
time
pros
came when
wear
I was
this.
like 12 that I just stopped wearing them at all and everything was fine. But every once in a while, like you'd go down to make a save and like you knew it was coming either towards your head or your upper chest and the puck would like clip just the bottom of your face mask. And you'd have kind of like, because if the puck hits you in the face mask really hard, like it jams the whole thing into even maybe your nose, your chin, like all that. And like I'd even at like 11 have a realization of like, that could have just hit me in the throat, which like it's just another 11-year-old shooting it, but it's a fucking piece of vulcanized rubber. It's hard.
In the league I played in, face masks were optional. There's two kinds. There's one that's made out of really strong wire that we called a cage, and the other is like a plastic shield that goes in front of you. Anyway, every single game, something would happen that made me glad I was wearing it. It might be I get hit with someone's stick, a puck. It might be somebody else who like doesn't have it, loses a tooth. Or half a tooth or something like that. And I was just like, fuck. Cages are for good looking people.
Oh yeah. Like men's league, it reverses where like you see a guy in men's league going around like he's Chris Pronger with no face mask on at all. You're like, that guy's an idiot. Like a true blue moron. You're not a tough guy. You work at the bank. Like, stop it. Like, you want to have a big scar. You don't have NHL fucking
I think it's
dental
cool until
insurance.
he eats one. I think it's cool until he eats one because up until that point, I just believe that he's like a pitcher and he can just pop, just fucking catch that thing every time.
I'm with Kyle. And also, it's cool if he's good, right? The people that didn't wear cages in my league were in like the AHL 2 years ago, you know, and or they're like 48 now, but they have time in the NHL. And it's like, yeah, well, fucking, of course that guy's not wearing a cage. He didn't play with one his whole career.
I mean,
me
well,
on the other
came
hand, I have a
from-
mortgage.
I came from like a parenting style, right, where you were a fucking pussy if you wore a helmet on your bicycle. So that's the context.
Okay.
But at the same time, this is a contact sport where you have everybody's got a goddamn razor on their feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I get the helmets.
Everybody has sticks too, which like very like day one hockey lessons is like you have like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds wearing razor blades on their feet and like holding a weapon. And so like they drill into your head like skates are always stay on the ice, stick always stays on the ice. And like what's usually the problem for young kids is the stick because they'll get to skating and like not realize they're swinging it around like a lunatic and like scoop it up into someone's like under their face mask and hit them in the eye or the nose or something.
Right.
And so you have to really drive that into kids. Keep your skates down, keep your stick down. This isn't fucking soccer. Which I remember, I say that because that is what a coach said to me. Like, this isn't soccer. Like be safe out there. Not ripping on soccer. A fine sport. I don't know the rules. I'm not familiar
Stupid
with
fucking
the rules.
sport. Fucking savages.
Not everyone's manly. Kyle.
We talked
Let
about
them have a sport.
fucking run around on that big fucking field, you lazy bitches.
I mean,
You lazy bitch. Well, if there's one thing soccer players are not, it's lazy. They're
look at their GDP in those countries. In other hockey news, they did. I think we talked about it on PKN, but for everyone, they did charge that guy who karate kicked the other hockey player in the neck and killed him. And
we didn't. We mentioned it initially on PKN, but we didn't talk about the arrest. I realized afterward.
Manslaughter charges.
He's been arrested. Hopefully I don't know if they have charged him with manslaughter already or if,
what I saw.
Okay, or if they're thinking about it.
I think we decided that's probably what he did.
Yeah. Very much so.
I don't know.
Like it's like the way he fell or didn't fall, like it's a clear attempt to raise his leg to the upper body of another player. Like there are no similar examples. I've watched a lot of hockey and like people don't fall that way. You don't, even if he did catch his right inner edge and fall to the left, you would not fall and lift your leg into that fall. That's just not physically how you would. And if he was merely trying to prevent the player from gaining the zone, he would have tripped him a standard.
If you're called to be an expert witness and sort of do that thing like in JFK where you point at the video and go back and to the left.
Yes.
Back and to the left. You know, they're proving the bullet came from in front of JFK and not behind. And
I could do it, baby. I could do it. I'd be like, take a look at this stick here. Is it caught on anything? Did it pull him out of position? No, it did not. And then we take a look at the right leg here. Look at the right inner edge. Does he catch an edge there? Do we see all the telltale signs of catching an edge, i.e. falling in the direction of his currently physical movement via inertia? No, we do not see this. What do we see? We see an intentional raising of the left leg to the upper body of Adam Johnson and the subsequent death. And I rest my case.
Here's what I think I saw, and I want to get this out.
No, I'm the prosecutor.
I don't think he tried to hurt the guy with his skate. A lot of people are acting like he did. I think even as I listen to Taylor, it's inferred, I think, that like he put his leg up there as a kicking motion. I think he threw his leg in the way like a turnstile just to slow him down.
But and you would trip. Like every other time that happens, you throw your leg at the shin pads, the feet of the person to trip them, because that's the best way to trip someone and prevent them from gaining access. Like it's a much less effective approach to go, I'm going to make a kicking motion to this guy's sternum area. Like that just doesn't happen. So like he did mean, I don't think he went into it trying to kill him, but he did mean to kick him. Like that's not how you move your leg.
Do you think the
guy was
down?
behind him? He didn't have an opportunity to kick the guy who's behind him. He could only throw his leg in his way. I thought that was the only play available.
Yeah, he threw his leg at his upper body. Like if he wanted to, he could have sprawled out, threw his legs behind him, just gotten a regular 2-minute trip. Like there were other options if he was willing to take a penalty, which he clearly was. And he did something unbelievably reckless. And sorry, like you can't throw your bladed foot around like that up in the air. Like that's day one. If you don't play hockey and you're listening to this, like you need to know a day one hockey thing is keep your feet on the ice. You have blades on your foot. Where do your feet stay? On the ice. Where does your stick stay? On the ice. Like, because that's how kids get hurt in mini mite and little league is not like getting cut by blades generally, but they lift their stick up and then they smack some other kid in the face or the neck.
It wasn't negligence. It wasn't ignorance. It was at the very least like some sort of carelessness and recklessness.
Reckless.
That's what we're talking about. This is a professional. This is a professional out there doing it. If a kid did it in a high school game, be a different discussion if you ask me. It'd be like,
yeah.
But this guy's been doing it his whole goddamn life. Like he has been doing it since he was a child. If he's made it to the pros, even the UK pros or whatever. So I hope they try him. It'll be an interesting trial. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I miss when we had televised trials. That Johnny Depp Heather bed shitter lady thing was kind of interesting. Amber Heard, but I really want like daily live feed like the OJ trial was when I was a kid.
This happened in England, right?
Like that, yeah.
Yes.
Are they going to dress up like it's the 1600s?
Don't those barristers and
hear ye the trial of the murderous Bladester is in session. And then,
Ever spent 3 hours explaining ice hockey.
Entire sport of ice hockey. What is it and what does it mean?
Exactly.
Taylor is expert witness. You need a pipe and like the Sherlock Holmes hat.
Where do you acquire so much ice?
They just get one Canadian guy up there as the expert witness, and then they can have a British guy translate him.
It's any Canadian.
Yeah,
we don't all like hockey.
Canadian
I don't
English,
know what.
and then they go back and translate.
Yeah, because there's a lot of terminology in hockey that wouldn't pick up.
They've all got
right
those
away.
headsets on, like Nuremberg, like waiting for the translation from just a straight Canadian. I enjoy those televised trials. It's
arrested.
I enjoy those televised trials immensely, especially when it's someone in the public eye or someone you know something about. I wish that Cain Velasquez trial was televised. I
wish the Trump trials were televised.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Maybe it could make it. I don't know that I'm trying to avoid the Civil War. So maybe keep that one off TV. I mean, I'm trying to avoid winning the Civil War, Woody. Like, you know what I mean? Like
you'd know what
I'm going to be
at
fine.
Long last.
I'm the only one here who knows what it's like to win the Civil War.
You remember that?
Having that back up through the yard catastrophe reminded me. I bet probably like 7 years ago I told this on.
By the way,
show.
I didn't say a word.
You didn't say a word. You were a good man. You were honorable.
Are they still together? I'm curious. Did White Boy?
I believe they are. I certainly hope they
Good
are.
for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
She was always really nice.
Basically, I think I was probably like 13, 14 or so, and we were coming from the rink. My mom was driving me, and it was me and I think my younger brother and Joel Quenneville's son, who played on a team with my brother. Joel Quenneville at the time was the head coach of the St. Louis Blues. And so big, like, guy in the hockey community in St. Louis, very, like, tight. And so, like, the professionals, like Chris Pronger and Al McInnes and Joel Quenneville and all these guys would be down at the rink and their kids would be playing there. And so, like, we knew them and the Kachucks. And my mom was dropping in this Honda Odyssey. I remember we were dropping him off at Joel Quenneville's house, head coach of the Blues, after a practice, and it was rainy. It was shitty out. It was wet. And he was the coach of a professional hockey team. And so it was a very, very, very nice yard. Very nice house, beautiful yard, and a very long, straight driveway. And my mom pulls up into it and lets him out, and he goes in. He's like, "See you later." Like, "Oh, see you next time." And she starts backing out. And I remember, like, his driveway was big enough. She could have done a little whoop-de-doop and, like, come back out straight. But she started backing up, and 100-yard driveway, however long it was. And I think we got it about 8 feet backward before I felt the car go and just in the yard. And my mom just forging ahead, just driving 2 wheels like tilted in this guy's yard. And I'm like, Mom, you're in Joel Quenneville's yard. You're in the coach of the Blues yard. Get back on the driveway. And she's like, "It's fine, Taylor. It's fine." And I'm like, "It's not fine. It's not fine." So
it's not fine.
It's not fine. And so, like, all the way back, the full length of the driveway, there is just a solid rut, a ditch now of destroyed, like, yard right next to their driveway. And my mom, like, it just didn't register with her at all how, like, shitty it was. And so I'm just like, I'm mortified. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to talk to, someone else during practice and, like, deal with this. This is really embarrassing. This guy's a big hullabaloo in the hockey world." And then she just backed out. I looked in horror at, like, a decimated yard, and then she just drove away. And then I got back, and my dad was there, and, like, I waited, and my mom went to go do something else, and I was like, "Dad, Mom drove through Joel Quenneville's yard." And he was like, "What?" Like, he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "She started backing up, and then she was just in the yard, and then she just went all the way through the yard." And he was like, "Oh my God." Like, I saw that look. I
choose to believe that's what led to the divorce.
I would have went back.
I think it was. like timing doesn't work out, but yeah, my dad was I could see in his eyes and face, because he would golf with, like, Al McInnes and Joel Quenneville and, like, these guys, and he was like, "Oh my God, He's like, do they know it was you who dropped them off? Like, yes, they know. He's like, oh my God.
They probably were all like watching through the blinds as you did it. Like, oh no, she'll stop. Oh God.
Blasted.
Honey, isn't that the Kentucky bluegrass you had flown in?
Oh, maybe my mom was driving like Hamas was hidden under the yard, just blasting through it.
So your father was friends with Quinville and McGinnis and Pryor?
Yeah, like because they like we played hockey at the same club, and so like a lot of these guys played golf together. And like what helped is that my dad is a ridiculously good golfer, like absurdly good. People will be like, oh, I'm really good at golf. And then they play with my dad and he blows them out. He plays nonstop all the time. And so these guys, like when people retire from hockey, they start playing golf. And so they wanted someone good to play with them. And so they would invite him to come play. And that was neat. So I got to like hang around the Blues.
Why is it fun to have somebody good with you?
When they're playing like triples or like a group of 4 or something, it's good to have someone who's really solid on there, I guess. I don't even know enough. Like like in group play where like they're a group competing against other groups. I guess it was good to have them. I remember Matthew and Brady Tkachuk are both in the NHL right now, the sons of Keith Tkachuk. And I remember I met Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. They're both like 7 and 9 years younger than me or something like that. 7 and 8 years younger than me. And the Tkachuks invited us to their box to watch a Blues game when I was probably, 12. And so these kids were like 3, 4. And I remember my dad like giving me a talk like the whole way up there. He was like, you behave. We are with Blues players and we're going to their box and you will behave. And I remember being like, I do behave. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be in trouble for, but like I was on my best behavior. And like every so often I would just like, cause all the adults were talking behind me and I was sitting in those little chairs up a little closer to that mini glass that overlooks the ice. And then I would like get up every so often and go get a Coke because I wanted a soda. And like, that was my big, oh my God, it's a box, as many hot dogs and sodas as I please. And so I was doing that the whole time. And I had to end up getting multiple sodas because I would go get a Coke, I would open it and then like drink some, put it next to me. And then it was either Matthew or Brady Tkachuk, probably Matthew at the time, who was like 4 years old. He came over and he just kept knocking my soda over. Like this little kid, he just kept going, whop. And I remember in my head being like, that's Keith Kachuk's kid, and Dad said to behave. And so I just would like,
you're like, good hit, little
guy. Good hit, little guy. And so I just pick up the soda and throw that one away and then open up another one. And then he'd come over like 10 minutes later and knock my soda over again.
Oh, got another one. 2 points for you.
Matthew, little did I know he'd be an NHL
Hey, I'm Taylor,
superstar.
by the way. We should be friends for life.
We should be great friends. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I have a bunch of good like hockey stories knowing those guys. Eric Johnson was the first overall pick by the St. Louis Blues in 2006, I want to say. So I was 15, he was 18, and he was boarding with the McKinnis's at Al McKinnis's house, which is pretty common if you're like a young 18-year-old first-round draft pick, first overall especially, that you're going to go to the NHL right away, more likely than not. And so they'll board you with an existing NHL family with people on there so that you can kind of get acclimated. And I knew Al McKinnis's son at the time, and so he and I were playing shinny hockey in Al McKinnis's basement, which is like a little where those little tiny hockey necks, like yay big, made of plastic, and then those little plastic sticks with the foam ball. And basically you're on your shins, you're on your knees, and it's 1-on-1, and you're trying to play hockey versus it's so much fun. Shinny is great. And me and Al's son were playing, and because I'm a goalie, it gives me a tremendous advantage in this game because second nature, I'm always keeping myself square to the net. Whereas someone who plays forward or defense isn't going to be doing that as much. They're going to leave open scoring opportunities. And so I beat Al McKinnis' son. And then I look over and Eric Johnson, first overall draft pick, comes down in the basement. He's like, what are you guys doing? At this time, Al McKinnis' son is like 1 year younger than me. I'm 3 years younger than Eric Johnson. And he's like, I want to play. And he's like an 18-year-old first round draft pick in the NHL. And so he's unbelievably competitive, unbelievably competitive. And I won. I beat Eric Johnson. Shout out you, Eric Johnson has a good career.
Loser.
Eric Johnson, loser. You're lucky we're giving you this attention.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, Eric. And so we were playing, and like at first it started off where he wasn't going that hard on me. And then he realized like, oh, this kid's like, and I'm also like a pretty big 15-year-old. And so by the end of the game, he and I are both sweaty. And he's like, when I have possession of the puck, he's like leaning on me like hard, trying to move me. And I'm like trying to bounce it off the wall to get it into the net. And I won. And he got like he kind of got up like with a little bit of a huff. Fuck. Like mad about it. And I remember for a long time, I'm 32 now. And I still remember that and being like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
The king of
zero if you wanted.
Yeah, I could have. And by that, doing a little college football math, I should have been the first overall draft pick in the NHL.
I mean, I bet if some of those scouts had seen that Shinny footage, they may have had some other ideas.
They would have. I kicked ass at Shinny. So Eric Johnson, invite open. You want a rematch? Anytime, any place. Oh, I've made $100 million and won Stanley Cups. Who cares, brother? I took you down in Al McGinnis' basement in 2005. Basement champion. Yeah. Did you guys know any like professional athletes growing up, or like?
No.
My father knew Pat Croce.
I forget where you're from.
You guys know any celebrities or anything as a child? You know, hang out with them and stuff, befriend them? No,
it's just because we play hockey in the same circles.
Every morning, my father ran on the boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey. It's nice. It's a little springy. It's better on your knees. Anyone who lives at the beach runs on the boardwalk. It's the better place to run. And I guess he got to knowing Pat Croce, who owned the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, nice.
And he was like an outrageously positive, super guy. Hank Scorpio from the Simpsons. Yeah, Simpsons. Yeah, he was said to be modeled on Pat Croce. I don't know if it's true.
Then I like it. Yeah.
And
hey, if you could toss a grenade at someone on the way out, I'd really appreciate it. Like,
I guess Pat just took a liking to my dad. They ran at about the right pace. He's like, you run pretty good for a big guy. And so when they saw each other, they would run side by side on the boardwalk. That's the closest I got. I can't hang with Taylor stories.
Cool. It's better than I've got. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I knew. Nah, definitely not.
Greg Maddux wasn't a friend of the fam.
No, he was not a friend of the fam.
He's the only Braves player I always remember because you mentioned him as the
Hall of Famer,
the great white whale that didn't win a championship.
What's his real name? Kyle's gonna know it. He was a relief pitcher.
You talking about Nolan Ryan?
No, he was a racist dude. Relief pitcher.
Oh, not Rocket. You're talking about John Rocker.
That's real good. They never nicknamed him Rocket. That was a missed opportunity.
That was.
No, they called him the fucking Grand Wizard.
Wild Thing. They called him the Wild Thing, right?
They played Wild Thing when he came out. It was just like, by the way, just like Major League, Charlie Sheen, they'd play Wild Thing. And he'd come out. He was the closer. He had the sleeves like cut off his jersey and shit. Like he was the bad boy closer. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's comedy.
There was some horrible news coming out of the Chicago Blackhawks organization for them, or hopefully it's bad news.
Or rape?
Patrick Kane's going to another team?
Well, Patrick Kane, I believe he just signed with the Detroit Red Wings, but he was already off Chicago. He played for the Rangers playoffs last year.
Okay.
The Chicago got the new, hot draft pick, Connor Bedard, who's a very, very good player. And apparently, like what's normal, Kyle and Woody will know this, and I'm sure it's in all sports, is sometimes you bring someone in like that who's 18 years old, you sign a veteran who's been around the block for a long, long time, and they signed somebody named Corey Perry. He's 38, 39 years old, been in the league since, I think he won a cup his first year of 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks, and so he's been around the block a lot. Dirty player, does some nasty things, but used to be a very good goal scorer. And last night, rumors came about that Corey Perry had fucked Connor Bedard's mom, and that he had had sex with the mother of this 18-year-old draft pick. He's still a scorer. went 5-hole on that bit. and so, like, last night I was seeing this on Twitter, and in my head I'm like, there's no fucking way that this happened. And I saw people come out and be like, this is a ridiculous rumor, a lie. Corey Perry did not have sex with Connor Bedard's mom. Because in my head, I'm like, Corey Perry's 39, Connor Bedard's 18. His mom, okay, Corey Perry and Connor Bedard's mom are probably about the same age-ish. Maybe she's a few years older. And then today, this morning, the Chicago Blackhawks made an announcement that they have.
Please tell me they announced he fucked his mom.
Here's to put these rumors to rest. Here's a video that we captured from really
the
deep
whole
dick in
smoke
that
show they
bitch.
play when they actually score a goal at home, like the fireworks go off, the pyrotechnics. Y'all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
Like, dun, 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 dun.
Mascots out there like pumping air.
Y'all ready for this? And then he's fucking
facial.
Yeah.
Camera cuts to him. It's like cuck cam.
The Chicago Blackhawks released a statement just like this morning where they said, after an internal investigation, the Chicago Blackhawks have determined that Corey Perry has engaged in conduct that is unacceptable and in violation of both the terms of his standard player contract and the Blackhawks' internal policies intended to promote professional and safe work environments. As such, Corey Perry has been placed on unconditional waivers. In the event Mr. Perry clears waivers, we intend to terminate his contract effective immediately. And so that has not dispelled these rumors because they have still not come out and said what it was. But I'm starting to think Corey Perry fucked Connor Bedard's mom, which,
Zach, can we get a picture of Connor Bedard's mom? If
it's out there, throw it up. Which if the Chicago Blackhawks organization fumbles this and Bedard starts to hate them, what better move for Connor Bedard to get revenge than to sign with their most hated rival, the St. Louis Blues organization. So who knows? Maybe
a rivalry if you win.
You should DM
I know. Tell Chicago they need to hurry up and get back on our level. It's been almost 10 years since they've won a cup. Yeah, so looks like Corey Perry may have fucked Connor Bedard's mom, which big news for Corey Perry if he did that. Imagine the hockey player they'd make. Could be even better than Connor Bedard. Because he's
that's what he.
She's already proven to make really good
your mom
players.
A son who can actually get drafted first round.
Yeah, what if Corey Perry's son, if he has one, is a fucking loser, sucks? He's in the chest.
Your mom's mitts more worn out than mine.
Yeah, so poor Connor Bedard having to deal with these rumors about his mom fucking Corey Perry.
Look at the daughter; she looks just like the mom too.
Yeah, strong genetics get you know.
Is the mom married?
Good-looking kids. I have no idea. I didn't look that far into it. I just saw that there's a potential, brouhaha brewing over at the Chicago organization, and that's great.
Mr. Bedard's a worse goalkeeper than you.
Yeah.
I wonder what the locker room is like. Are they all like telling jokes? Dude, went 5-hole on your mom.
Nobody's saying shit about that.
Not with this draft pick. Like the number one overall, like supposed to be like probably second.
Is he?
Connor. He was the number one overall.
Don't apply now.
Yeah, he's fucking good. And so they definitely, if any coach got wind that Connor Bedard was being bullied in the locker room, they would shut that right down. They'd send them to the minors.
Between bullying and being a friend sometimes. Like how do you handle it if your mom's
a whore?
One of the teammates.
Slutting it up with Corey Perry. She's a fucking hoser. Sucking it out.
Don't feel bad. It happens to us all. He's fucked all our moms.
That's why Corey Perry had to switch to so many teams late in his career. He's just a mom fucker. He's just getting in there.
Coach's mom. She's like 82.
She's like,
were they living together? Yeah. If people don't know, in hockey, I don't know of any other sports, but in hockey, they take these recruits, these super recruits, and they have them live with people. Crosby lived with Mario Lemieux, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They have like a boarding family or something to kind of acclimate you.
So was he living with this guy? Like he and his mom moved in? ? I don't know.
I wouldn't think so. If Corey Perry is a single guy, that would be weird as hell. If he's like, yeah, you and your mom just live with me, and Connor's like, I was thinking just me. He's like, yeah, you and your mom just I got
a 2-bedroom place, right? So you can have a room, and
you can have the couch.
Your mom and I can it'll be right here.
Oh, you take the couch, and then of course the other bedrooms where I keep my trophies. So
that's where I keep my Stanley Cup
find
pictures.
Something for your mom. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're still on that entry-level contract. Well, I've made like $100 million in my career. Do you think that's something your mom might, like? Or is that something she'd be enticed with? Yeah. So hopefully the inner workings of the Chicago Blackhawks organization are falling apart. I hope Connor Bedard is like, I hate the Chicago Blackhawks. I hate them more than anything in the world. They're selling me out, and they're not making the right PR moves to either clear the name of my mother or condemn the behavior of Corey Perry. So that would be good. I guess they did condemn the behavior. They said it was, what if it's like something totally different? It's like he was gambling on Chicago, and he's like, it's not even fair. I was betting we'd lose, and we suck. Like, of course I won the bets. That's that happens to them.
So they're going to make the playoffs, but do nothing probably this year.
They're going to have one of those seasons where they will probably make the playoffs and get butt fucked by the number 1 seed because they'd sneak in as an 8, or they won't make the playoffs and they'll get a cool 14th overall instead of, first, second, or third. So that's aggravating. But all you have to do is make the playoffs, and then a super hot goalie can get you all the way there. Like that. Sometimes that can happen.
Yeah. How good's your goalie?
He is bad. He's not good at all.
There's
actually.
A lot of upside.
Is it too late to get a new one? Is it too late in the year to get a new one?
No.
We can still trade for a new goalie. It's just our goalie has a no trade clause, and so I doubt he's going to switch. Yeah,
What'd you do that for?
Well, they did that because he played incredibly in his rookie season and helped the Blues win a cup. And then our GM basically gave him a thank you for doing that contract, which was a 5-year long contract for way more money than he's worth. And so now everyone's just kind of biding their time until Binnington can go away.
What a terrible deal.
Not a good deal. Not a good. Our GM's been
maybe an incentives-based deal would have been.
Yeah, win another cup, loser.
I mean,
I'd like that.
Yeah. I mean, do you believe in yourself, son? You already won one. You've been here 2 years. You won a cup.
Yeah.
You got to win 2 or 3 more before you're done. Tell him that. That's the deal I want to make.
He's great in the playoffs. He's terrible in the regular season. So we'll see. Every single time I'm watching a game, it's either he stops 39 of 40 shots and we win the game because he played, or he lets in 5 goals on 11 shots and gets pulled and the whole game is beyond saving. There's no middle ground. I haven't seen one game this year where he's been a normal average goalie. It's just he averages out to an average goalie, but there's never average performances. It's just he's a world beater, and it's like, can you play like a little bit of this goodness when we're not playing Columbus?